If you think there's something wrong with this puzzle, you're going to have to take a look at this video to find out what happened to it. My year started pretty amazing and fully snowed in. How was yours? Did you do any puzzles over the new year? Once I got back from our family holiday, I went fully back into puzzling, and that is also basically what inspired the first YouTube video of the year, which is just going to be an easy puzzle solve of a really cool puzzle, which is this one. It is a 2000-piece Ravensburger of an antique map, which is always a good image. I am a huge fan of any kind of map and some of these antique images and even paintings. This specific one is from 1650, but what is mostly interesting about this puzzle is that it's actually the same age as I am, which is going to give a hint of how old I am actually. The puzzle is from 1992. So I basically got this from a friend and never got around to really do it. So I didn't know if it was complete or how badly the pieces have aged or what state the puzzle is in. So I really wanted to see how this puzzle is going to be, and that is exactly what this video is going to be about. My initial idea was obviously to start sorting out the edges, just working out of the box and collecting whatever I am finding. This puzzle is so old that the pieces and the cardboard that are used are still not the blue characteristic Ravensburgers that we know from the past. So in comparison to a regular current day, let's make it focus. In comparison to a current day Ravensburger piece, which has this very characteristic dark blue cardboard and this shape, I'm going to try and find the same shape somewhere. Obviously, when I'm looking for it, I'm not going to find it here. So size-wise, it's pretty much the same, but the cardboard used is different. Make it focus. Here it is. So the size and shape are very, very similar, but the cardboard is different. So this is pre-blue cardboard era. As I was sorting the edges, at one point I realized that I keep finding those red lines that are all over the map, so I added up those to another board as well. For now, I have sorted out pretty much all the edges and a bit of these red lines, and that pile over there is basically these here. So that's all the sorting that I have done so far. I think I'm going to just start building because, yeah, I basically just, run my hands through the pieces a million times and just, try and find stuff. But I already have quite a lot of things that I can start building. And yeah, once the puzzle starts taking at least a little bit of shape, it's going to be slightly nicer to work on. I'm not really an upfront shape type of person, but with large pieces it definitely helps. I mean, large piece counts. We're going to see how it goes. Out of pure habit, I obviously started with the edges, trying to assemble as much of the lines as possible. I was more growing by the shapes, but as you can see, it didn't really work out that well. Therefore, I ended up switching to something else that I have sorted out as well, which is these little circles that are very visible throughout the pieces in general, because they have this very different pattern compared to all the others. And that was actually way easier to assemble. Because there's two of them, obviously each piece could go to whichever one of them, but I still managed to put them together relatively quickly. Getting super confident of finishing them, I decided to go on with these two circles and add the external circles, which was a little bit more challenging because at one point I had to realize I don't have all the pieces. So a full flip it is. I dunked all the pieces onto the table and started flipping. I actually didn't do as badly with sorting as I thought I did, because yeah, there's only 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 edge pieces and just this many of the reds. And then yeah, the little circles, I didn't really find that many. Okay, I'm stacking stuff on the pieces because that's all the table that I have. So I'm going to have to be very economical with that. Yeah, edge pieces just go over here. I'll sort it out just now. I want to get through the little circles because those are at least an easy part of the puzzle that I can do. So I'm going to see. The main reason for this being easier than the rest is that the lines are very recognizable from the others because they're the only ones that are circular. Everything else is rectangular entirely. So that creates the big difference. And so I continue doing the little circles because those were easy. I'm done with this much of the 2 circles. Here there's a bit more of mountains and stuff, which I guess blends way more into the puzzle. And the more I'm working on these things and the puzzle, and the more I'm struggling with actually getting a grip on like properly starting the puzzle, I think I'm going to have to actually sort this time just a little bit so that I can clear it up. And then Lucy, hello. There's my dog. And that is how I ended up sorting just a little bit more to familiarize myself with the pieces and also to reduce the amount of puzzle on the table, just because it seemed a logical step to clean up before I progress. I have done another round of sorting. Most likely, yeah, I wasn't really precise with it, but on this tray I have all the red lines that are in the map, which are, I think, the Tropic of Capricorn and Cancer. And then I've got one tray of lines with just little black and red sections on them. So that's also going to be a separate little thing. Then I have another one, which is basically just all of these, not all of these, but a big bunch of these black and blue, or blue and pink, or yeah, colorful, whatever, which are like the decorations of the map. And then edges and all that stuff. So now I'm going to try and make myself some space and see if I can start actually assembling the puzzle instead of just going around and sorting stuff, because now I just keep finding things that I sort, and I'm not a sorter. As I said, I'm not a sorter, and I keep sorting. That is when I attempted for a second time to put together as much of the frame as possible. Once that was kind of done, I switched over to pretty much any lines that I could get around to doing, just to kind of get a grip of what is going on and connect as many as possible. But very soon I realized I have to start moving the puzzle onto the table properly so that I have the whole image lined up in front of me. So I started arranging all the edge pieces that I had completed to start and connect them and just see how big the puzzle is going to be, because I, for one, can never remember how big a puzzle is going to be in the end. So that is when it was revealed to me how big it actually is and how much it's going to be fitting on the table. I did have to switch around a couple of things at one point when I realized that it is actually going to be bigger than I thought it's going to be. As you can see here, I have to move a tray just so that I can make space for the puzzle again and to fit all of the frames. Once the pull frame was in place, I could get to the rest of the things that I have already assembled to try and place them into where they're going to be. Now, this is actually one of the parts of puzzling that I love the most, because you don't realize how much of the puzzle you have already assembled until you actually start placing them to where they're supposed to go. And it is actually pretty cool to see how a lot of the puzzle comes together just by these little sections that I have created separately. Obviously, these lines were pretty confusing at first because it's hard to tell where exactly they're going to go. At this point, I obviously didn't really know my way around the puzzle yet, so I had to trial and error of where these lines go just until the full frame came together. The outline is done. I actually didn't expect that I have done this much of it compared to how long I have been struggling with it. But yeah, it makes sense kind of because it really was just lines and there's a big bunch of false fits as well. But compared to that, the full edge is done. I have actually managed to sort out all of them. The red lines are all done, and yeah, these kind of small sections are there as well. Now with these tropics that are on the map, I only found like a couple of them so far. I'm going to be starting to fill them in a little bit more. It's also going to be easier now that I have the entire picture in front of me, so I can actually start looking at the box. Now the thing about the box though is that because it's old as well, the colors are faded. So pretty much the colors that are on the puzzle don't match the box whatsoever. So yeah, that's also a challenge. I can pretty much use the image for basically finding things on the map, literally, and like what image is where. But other than that, there's different shades. So the top left corner is, for example, completely a different shade compared to the bottom right. So it's progressing. I'm pretty happy with it so far. I have decided that probably the last part of what I'm doing today is going to be these pieces, which are these little lines. They are the ones that are across here and on the side. Right, it's 11 o'clock at night, almost midnight, and it's looking like something. It is taking shape. Yeah, I've got most of the lines, and yes, I'm going to fill in the rest of it later. I'm going to go to bed now. I stayed up way too late again. It is day 2 of working on this puzzle. I did work a little bit off camera when I was getting ready in the morning and I was, yeah, drinking my coffee and just like placed a couple of pieces. But other than that, I have a big bunch of things just taken out of the box. I do have to puzzle out of the box in the sense that I have the box here. It's on the floor because I don't have enough space. But yeah, I do have to puzzle out of the box, kind of, in a way, because yeah, I don't have enough room. I can't spread them out anywhere. So yeah, the majority of the pieces are still in the box here. Other than that, I have an assortment of things that I have kind of taken out of the box that I recognize already of where they kind of going to go. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing now. I'm just going to place all these and then see where I get from there. This is also basically the time when I stopped using any system of putting things together. I just grabbed random things that I recognized from the pieces that I have already collected from the box and starting to place them wherever I thought they went if I recognized their placement. If not, I just put them back in the pile and continued with something else. I am going to stop the time lapse for a minute, or the video, because we need to commemorate this moment. Basically, all of the lines in the map are done. So there's all these little sections that are now kind of separated off. So if you look at the big picture, all of these are now little mini puzzles that can be filled in. But before I actually do that, I'm going to go around and do these now, because these little images are actually pretty recognizable. They're all here with the little pieces. And yeah, so I'm going to fill those in because I think that's kind of a logical next step to just fill those in and see how that goes. Once that is done, we're going to tackle the map in the middle, which is quite busy. And yeah, first the little images, then we go on. And here I actually did what I said I would do. I really started working on the little images and they came together pretty well because they're very distinguishable. I just want to show you a funny false fit, which is this one. Up until now, I didn't notice that this is not correct. But yeah, it's way yeah, lighter than the rest of the picture there. So I started looking of where it is and bloop, it's there. And it won't focus. The camera won't focus, but it's here. So yes, these are the kinds of false fits that I'm dealing with in this puzzle. Like they fit perfectly. It's just, yeah, old Ravensburger. It's pretty funny. So weird puzzling like this with the camera in my hand. But yes, so this is the progress update for now. Yeah, most of the little pictures are pretty much done. So yeah, I'm trying to still fill in whatever I'm finding. And I have found another one. Can you spot it? The false fit. It's this one. And the reason that I found it is because there's the other half. Yeah, it's tricky. It doesn't really make sense though. I don't think that's it. Something is off. I don't know where this one goes so that it fits with the others. Ah, here it is. Yeah, everything fits everywhere. And here we actually got to the point where I started working on a continent in the map. So actually working on the map. Now, I chose to work on the South America side because the yellow somehow stood out, but obviously some other pieces were mixed in, which belonged to the other side of the world. But at this point, it really was just pick and placing, holding up pieces, taking a look at the image, and just seeing where pieces of the image are going to go. And this also progressed pretty well, I think. They were pretty recognizable. A little bit of shape work also helped. So the pieces are really distinguishable, so you can very easily tell where they might actually go. And that way, yeah, South America started filling out pretty well. And that was a very enjoyable part of the puzzle. Even though it is actually a bit more challenging than what it looks like, sometimes it seemed very tricky, and because there's so much writing everywhere, it is actually hard to see of where it's going to be on the image. Now is actually the most chilled part of the whole puzzling process because the majority of the puzzle is already done. So I'm kind of just filling in the gaps, and I have like these bigger sections. And since that is happening, I'm going to move all of the remaining pieces, which I would say is about maybe 400, onto my boards so that I can start just working from those, because I don't have enough table space to have just the pieces lined up around the puzzle. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that. And since this is the first video of the new year, I also thought that I would just chat a little bit about the channel itself and what I'm planning with it, because this is the perfect time for it because it doesn't require too much brain work. So I'm just going to be moving the pieces and just chat a little bit, and then we can go on with the puzzle build video. So basically it was a very random thing that I started the YouTube channel. In a way, funnily enough, as much as I resisted having a YouTube channel, even though I was told to get one for a bit, it turned into something that I enjoy very much. So I am diving into making more and more YouTube videos. And that's partly thanks to so many people already being interested in my videos and getting so much great feedback from you guys, which was incredible so far. It's always such a good feeling to hear that you enjoy the videos, like seeing the events that I go to, and in general, just being enthusiastic about a hobby that we share. So yeah, it's kind of a boost, and it also turned into a creative outlet for me that I didn't think it would. So I genuinely started enjoying the filmmaking process, which is kind of a weird thing because I'm obviously not familiar with filmmaking whatsoever. But yeah, I'm learning and working on it from each video. I'm trying to keep it interesting what I'm making so that it's not just about the puzzles, but that it's about other stuff as well. So that's basically the process that I am working on at the moment, and I'm pretty happy with it. So I have a lot of videos planned for the upcoming year, all kinds of places that I want to go to, all kinds of people that I want to interview. There are a bunch of things. There's already a very big video coming that is lined up already. I just didn't want that to be the very first video of the year. But yeah, other than that, I'm just full of ideas and I really hope that I will get to continue it. It's going to be a very exciting year, 2026, I really hope. There's a lot of events, obviously, that the European Championship has been announced. There's also kind of a teaser for the World Championship as well. But there's also the big event that I'm very, very excited about, which is the Speed Puzzle World Series. So there's definitely going to be a lot of things to talk about, speed puzzling or just puzzle-wise. And I really hope that you're going to be there for it. So if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, and this is the first video that you're watching from me, then definitely hit the like button so that it gives a little boost for the video, and also subscribe because there's so many things that I'm planning right now that, yeah, it's going to be a pretty chock-full year of YouTube videos, hopefully. And that's basically it. So I kind of wanted to discuss it a little bit with you, dear viewers. And yeah, we're going to see what 2026 brings. The one thing that didn't change about Ravensburger in the past 30 years apparently is the puzzle dust. It's all full of it. I'm not sure how much the camera is actually showing in, but there's a good bit of puzzle dust in here and all kinds of other junk from the previous owner. But yeah, there's still puzzle dust. And now back to the puzzle solving. As you can see, I didn't sort this whatsoever. It's just a big pile of pieces because it's easier to see in them like this compared to being in the box. And now for the solving. At this point, with less and less pieces in the pile, it became easier and easier to start filling in the puzzle itself. But also, I think the easiest part of the puzzle for me was basically the African and European continent, because I also know it a little bit better just because I'm in the area. And that is also the busiest section of the entire puzzle. So I could just start filling in the gaps and placing everything pretty much based on what I see on the pieces and filling in Germany itself because I'm there. And so this is how Europe basically almost came together and started filling in gaps so that the African continent, the South American continent, and also the rest of the puzzle just started coming together. From here on, it's really just pick and placing. Once the continents were basically done, I just started getting more and more of the pieces that are more characteristic, has lines on them, or something that makes it recognizable. This is also generally where I become faster and faster because I'm pretty good at finding these missing spots and to fill in gaps. So that is mostly my strength. Here's a false fit I haven't noticed. It's this one. And that's why this piece I have not been able to place for so very long. It's already the home stretch of this puzzle, with more and more pieces just filling in the last gap in larger sections, which I honestly think is the most satisfying part of putting a puzzle together. So basically just pick and placing. At this point, just basically empty pieces with just lines on them that don't really tell you much. So from here on, it's also partly shape work and partly just dead reckoning still. Even though I didn't do any shape sorting at this point, it still went pretty quickly. And now drum roll for the last 2 pieces. So this was my first large puzzle of 2026. I'm really glad that I chose this one because it holds just the right amount of challenges. The picture itself is very beautiful. As I was saying, I really love these antique maps in general, and it's a really nice one at that. It also really has the right amount of challenges because the lines that I started with are pretty challenging to put together, but once you get the hang of that structure that the puzzle has, you really divide the entire thing into like these little sections, and then the small images that are around the whole map, they are actually very recognizable and very doable. So if you find a piece for one of them, then you kind of know where it's going to go. The only thing is that you can see that the piece cut was still old. That has been updated in the last 30 years since this puzzle was manufactured. The tricky thing is, what I have realized, is that the puzzle is basically made up of 2 sides. So this is basically the dividing line. And this side is a mirrored version of this one. So the pieces on the top left of the puzzle actually fit into the bottom right of the puzzle, which actually creates a really fun challenge to kind of do a mashup of the entire puzzle, which I might actually still attempt. But yeah, that has been updated since, so I don't think that the 2000 piece puzzles actually mirror themselves like this anymore. But I haven't really done a 2000 piece puzzle in a while that is new, so that's actually something that I still have to get around to this year. The continents themselves were also very doable. As with maps, if you have a basic knowledge of geography, if you look at kind of the place names, you are going to kind of know where to go. But also here, the continents are basically color coded. So it kind of helps you orientate yourself in that way as well. So a map like this is actually very good for those who want to enter into the world of larger puzzles, which is 2000 pieces. It is still a nice size. As you can see, it just barely fits on my puzzle table. From the larger piece count onwards, the pieces are actually also smaller, so that's a different thing. This has been very good fun, all in all. I really hope that you enjoyed seeing the puzzle come together. I definitely had a great time filming with this one. And if you have liked this video, then definitely hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I have a lot of things planned for 2026. I have a bunch of puzzles lined up that I definitely want to complete. Very soon, the competition season is actually starting. So there's going to be some competition reports, there's going to be some puzzles, there's going to be some other stuff, including the video that is going to come out next week. I really hope that you're going to enjoy that one. And if you don't want to miss it, then definitely subscribe to the channel. I really hope that you're going to be following along for this year's puzzle adventures. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video. So a little bit of time has passed since I finished recording, and that thing I said that the pieces can be exchanged between each other because the piece cut is kind of repeated or mirrored, that kind of got me thinking, and things kind of spiraled from there. So I might have gone through the entire puzzle and switched around the pieces a little bit. And it goes together completely well, so it all works out. And it just looks so very trippy. It's such a messed up puzzle now. It feels kind of like I violated it, but yeah, it's super fun. Especially because of the border of how it is kind of symmetrical all around. Like, that works out pretty well. So like the main texture of the puzzle is still visible. It looks a little bit like a rug now. But yes, so it took way longer than I care to admit, but yeah, this turned out to be pretty funny. And it's a weird thing I just did to a puzzle. That's also something I have never done with a puzzle, so there you go. I'm not sure if this has been changed since 1992, that all of these can be exchanged between each other, but yeah, let me know in the comments if you know anything about that. If you're into like higher piece count puzzles and you know if that was ever changed in the manufacturing, that would be pretty cool.